Hey, what's up, guys? It's Sports Blitz here, and we're back with another NFL mock draft. Before I get into it, make sure to smash that like button and subscribe. So I want to say right now, I don't have any trades like pre-planned out, but if there's anything that kind of like pops into my head while the mock draft is going on, I'll definitely try to make that happen. I'm also gonna say I don't know super well how a lot of these teams are going to value different draft picks for trades. I know in the past a lot of people have gotten angry with the value I've given for certain trades in the draft. So, guys, don't take this too seriously. All right. I'm not going to claim to be a draft expert. I'm not going to claim to know there's everything to know about these picks. I'm just trying to have fun with this like you guys are. So, just let me know what you think in the comments section below, and let's get on with it. So, number one for the Titans. In my last mock draft, I did have them trading back to number three with the Giants. I'm not gonna have them trade this time. I'm gonna go ahead and just have them take, in my opinion, the best player in the draft, and that's Abdul Carter. I mean, I think the dude's an absolute beast. Oh, I probably need to hit start. That's why. So yeah, Abdul Carter out of Penn State, absolute monster. I think most people agree that he's the best player in the draft. Number two for Cleveland. So I normally go with either a quarterback here or in a lot of cases, Abdul Carter is usually available here. In this case, he's not. I'm actually going to go a different route now. I'm going to go ahead and say they take Tet McMillan. Just get an absolute stud wide receiver. I've actually compared him to Michael Thomas when he was younger, but obviously a lot faster. I don't think he has quite as fluid of route running, but I think he has really strong hands like Michael Thomas did. I think he's a really lanky wide receiver like Michael Thomas was. Another comparison, honestly, could be DeAndre Hopkins. I know he's a little bit bigger of a receiver than Hopkins, but pretty similar guy as well. Number three, the Giants. I'm just gonna be honest. Like Cam Ward feels like a Giants player. Like he just feels like he's going to the Giants. Like I feel like there's a few players in this draft that you can just see as perfect fits. That's one of them for me. So then here for New England, normally I have them take Tet McMillan every time. And honestly, if he's on the board, I 1,000% think they should take him. In this case, where he's not, I honestly think you should take the best player on the board. And I think you can make arguments between Mason Graham and Will Johnson. I'm going to take Will Johnson in this case. I think him and Christian Gonzalez would be just a really nasty cornerback duo. I just really, really like how good that secondary would be with Will Johnson. I know a lot of people are going to be wondering why I didn't take like Will Campbell or Kelvin Banks because they do need offensive tackles, but my thing is in the NFL, I believe these guys are going to play more guard than tackle. They may play a little bit of tackle here and there, but I think ultimately they're going to find their groove more at guard. And I don't think you want to take a guy who's going to play more on the inside all the way at number 4. So, just my opinion there. Number 5 for the Jaguars, I'm going to go ahead and give them Mason Graham out of Michigan. Number 6. Now, I know a lot of us have been saying that Shedeur Sanders also feels like a Raider. I'm going to do something different in this one. I think there's been a lot of noise in that some of these Senior Bowl quarterbacks may be graded a little bit higher than Shedeur Sanders. I know there's been some rumors that, like one I actually saw earlier today, Jackson Dart supposedly being higher on a lot of people's boards than Shedeur Sanders, as their quarterback too. Again, a lot of it's smoke. Like, it's the Senior Bowl. There's going to be a lot of smoke. But I'm going to be honest, I'm really not all that high on Shedeur Sanders. And honestly, the type of attitude that it seems like he has and that comes with, his dad as well, with the whole, only certain franchises can draft him. I think that's going to drive a lot of other franchises away. I don't think a lot of teams want that type of attitude. So I think that's going to drive him down a lot further on a lot of boards than people think. So I'm actually going to go and take an absolute beast instead, and I'm going to give the Raiders Ashton Genty. I know this is insane. A lot of Raiders fans might not like it. Let me know what you think, actually, Raiders fans. But I think that it'd instantly take their offense to be a lot better if they're not going to take a quarterback there. So that's kind of their next best option. So, Jets on the board now. I think here's probably where you take Travis Hunter. I mean, does he fall clear to 7? I don't know. Probably not. I'm probably already getting most of these wrong. But Travis Hunter paired with Sauce Gardner would be really intriguing. I mean, I see Travis Hunter as a really, really solid number 2 corner in the league. But then I also think he's going to get 12 to 15 snaps at wide receiver a game. And I think getting that little bit of extra production offensively for the Jets may be able to give them a little bit of a boost offensively that they need. And again, pairing him with Sauce Gardner would be just a really fun duo. Number 8 for the Carolina Panthers. I'm going to actually take who's really one of my favorite players in the whole draft. Where do they have him listed? Is he not listed as a linebacker here? Okay, so they have him listed as an edge. Really, in the NFL, he's not going to really be a full-time edge. He's also not going to be a full-time off-ball linebacker. But the guy I'm talking about is Jalen Walker. He's an absolute monster out of Georgia. I mean, just insanely high motor, quick block shedding. I've seen him be able to just completely sniff out run plays, sniff out screens, kind of find his way through the blocking on screen plays and, blow up the play. Just seems like he plays fast, physical, but also isn't just kind of flying around mindlessly. He seems like he has a high IQ. And I think in a defensive player like this, that's what you really, really want in the draft. So, for the Saints here, I'm going to give them another, personal favorite of mine. Actually, another guy I thought about for the Panthers here. Been getting an insane amount of noise at the Senior Bowl. Mike Green, edge rusher out of Marshall, led the nation in sacks this year. Dude's insane. I mean, I think kind of the main knock on him, before this last week was he, was kind of more of a pure speed rusher and didn't really have that type of power. Well, he's been showing that power at the Senior Bowl against guys like, well, Josh Connerly, who has been getting a lot of noise as a first round tackle. Honestly, after all this stuff, I don't know that Josh Connerly is a first round tackle. I mean, some of these guys may have knocked him out of the first round. But, anyways, Mike Green, just insanely explosive edge rusher. Like, sure, for a scheme like the Saints, maybe he's a little undersized. I know the Saints like a lot bigger of defensive linemen and edge rusher sort of thing. So maybe you want to look somewhere more like Mykel Williams. But, I mean, look, if you're just looking for absolute dogs on the defense that are going to make an impact, Mike Green is going to do that. So, and I've said before on this channel, I am not that big of a fan of James Pierce. He just doesn't seem to have like the explosiveness that you want. Especially if you're taking a guy like that at number 9. I mean, like, yeah, he's a little lanky. He has decent pass rush moves, but he just doesn't have that explosiveness that you want in an edge rusher that you're drafting this high. So, here for the Bears, sure a lot of Bears fans are disappointed right here that Ashton Jeanty isn't available. I think at this point it's kind of more about how do you best support Caleb Williams. And I think looking at the board, my favorite, like, pure offensive tackle is Josh Simmons, and then I'd actually go down to Cam Williams as well. I don't know that I'd take Cam Williams all the way at number 10. Like I mentioned earlier, Josh Connerly is dropping quite a bit. Armand Membu has struggled quite a bit too. So, yeah, I don't know. Tackles are probably falling down a lot of people's boards. But I mean, yeah, if the Bears want protection for Caleb Williams, Josh Simmons is probably the guy. With Jeanty off the board, I think that's probably going to be the smartest thing to do here. So I'm going to go ahead and give them Josh Simmons. Once again, I think Will Campbell and Kelvin Banks are going to be more like guards in the NFL. So here for the 49ers, I will say, though, the Niners just need really good offensive linemen altogether. And, I mean, I know that 11 is pretty high for a guard, but guards are becoming more valuable. You go to this last offseason, you look at guys like the extension Landon Dickerson got, Chris Lindstrom, Robert Hunt, all guys making $20 million plus a year. Guards are becoming more valuable, so maybe 11 isn't too crazy for a guard. So I am going to go ahead and give them Will Campbell. I know a lot of Niners fans are going to say that's a boring pick, and I understand, but I mean, you've also got to give your offense the best chance to succeed too. I mean, it seemed like Brock Purdy was under pressure quite a bit this year, and I get some of that was his fault too because he was holding the ball too long. But I think you also look at like the running back situation, and every running back was getting hurt so much, and they had a talented plethora of running backs, but did they really have that great of running lanes? I would say no. Because, I mean, even when McCaffrey was healthy for those few weeks, he didn't really look like McCaffrey. He didn't really have those running lanes and was getting stuffed. A guy like Will Campbell can help that. So, here for the Dallas Cowboys, I'm going to go ahead and have them take. I think I'm going to have them take edge rusher Mykel Williams. Honestly, I see him as a pretty similar player, actually, to. So I would see him as a player that's pretty similar to both Micah Parsons and DeMarcus Lawrence. I think he's going to play a little bit heavier than Micah Parsons, but not quite like a DeMarcus Lawrence type of guy, if that makes sense. I don't know. I feel like he would fit really, really well in that Dallas defense. So, here for the Dolphins, I mean, he's been mocked there my last three mocks. I'm going to give them Malachi Starks. I absolutely love the fit. I I really feel like they're going to let Javon Holland hit free agency. I don't think they want to dish out the money to re-sign him. So, yeah, Malachi Starks, one of my favorite players in the draft too. So, so then the Colts, I'm gonna go ahead and actually have take Tyler Warren out of Penn State. Dude's an absolute beast of a tight end. Gonna help that passing game quite a bit. I think this is gonna end up being Anthony Richardson's last chance to, show what he can do. And if he has another season where he really struggles, well, the Colts may be looking for a quarterback next year. So at least in the meantime, try to give Richardson the best chance possible to succeed. And Tyler Warren's an absolute beast of a tight end. I mean, you can't really give him much better than that. So, for the Atlanta Falcons, I don't know if I love giving them any of these edge rushers available. I like Shamar Stewart. I don't know that I like it as early as 15. James Pierce, like I mentioned earlier, just doesn't seem to have that explosiveness you like off the edge. Sure, maybe 15 is a spot that you're more willing to take a chance on that. But I don't know. I'm also really not that crazy high on Nick Scorton, though I will say, him being solid in run defense makes him, a better fit for the Falcons. Because I feel like they want an edge rusher that can, set the edge well before rushing the passer. I just don't know that I love him as early as 15. Let me see who else is available real quick. I mean, Jahdae Barron is available. I think he's better than number 30. I mean, obviously you take out Will Johnson and then Travis Hunter, and I think Jahdae Barron's the best remaining corner. I have him higher than Ben Morrison and Siobhan Revel. So he's solid. He would be a good pick for the Falcons, but again, it's a matter of like their spot in the draft. Man, I don't know who to have him take. I don't know. Maybe this is late enough to take a chance on James Pierce, cuz again, like I said before, he's lanky and has solid pass rush moves. He just doesn't have that current, like, explosiveness off the edge you'd like. I think that's something that he can improve on and get better at. Other than that, I mean, I think it's a good fit in Atlanta. I don't know, Falcons fans, let me know what you think of that pick. I'm going to go ahead and give you James Pierce. That's kind of a tough one for me. I would say around pick 19 or 20 is more where I would take him, but I don't know. Let me know what you think. For the Arizona Cardinals, I'm going to go ahead and give them. I'm going to have them reunite Marvin Harrison with his former teammate Emeka Egbuka out of Ohio State. Give Kyler another real solid weapon. And then we're actually going to have back-to-back wide receivers come off. I do not think the Bengals are going to bring back T. Higgins. I really don't. I think he's gone in free agency. And then, I mean, there's issues with Jermaine Burton, too. At that point, you're left with Jamar Chase, and that's it. Granted, he's a insanely good receiver, but you want more than one receiver. So I'm going to go ahead and give them Luther Burden. Seahawks on the board now. And I think we go ahead. Do we take a chance on Shedeur here? Maybe we take a chance here? Because, I mean, obviously he wouldn't be starting right away because of Geno. But he would be in a solid situation. And, I mean, honestly, like, it doesn't matter what franchise he goes to. I don't think Shedeur's going to be ready to start his rookie year. I really don't. I don't think he's going to look good if he starts his rookie year. Yeah, I'm going to go ahead and have Seattle take him. I know Seahawks fans are probably going to hate me for this. Probably going to think it's a stupid pick. But take a chance on him. See if he ends up being your guy. Obviously, this year it's still going to be Geno. Maybe next year as well. Who knows? But, give Sanders the best chance possible to succeed when it is his time. Tampa Bay Buccaneers on the board now. And I'm going to go ahead and give them... I'm going to give them cornerback Benjamin Morrison out of Notre Dame. I mean, I have him and Jahdae Barron graded... Oh, no, I didn't take Jahdae Barron off the board yet. I thought I did because I talked about him. Yeah, I'll have them take Jahdae Barron, actually. But that said, I do have them graded pretty closely. I mean, I would just give just a slight edge to Barron. I think he's just a slightly better corner than Morrison. But, again, the two are neck and neck. So Denver on the board now. And I'm going to go ahead and give them their tight end of the future in Colston Loveland. Another absolute beast. Honestly, as a whole, this tight end group is really one of the better that we've seen in recent years. I mean, it seems like every tight end you see at the Senior Bowl has been blowing it up. Tyler Warren's an absolute monster. Colston Loveland's an absolute monster. I mean, there's a lot of really talented tight ends in this year's group. But I really like getting Bo Nix an elite tight end in Loveland there. Here for the Pittsburgh Steelers, I don't know that I love taking Matthew Golden as early as 21. I don't know that I like taking any of these guys as early as 21, for that matter. So I don't think I want to do that. You know what? I do like the idea of taking Kenneth Grant here, though. Kenneth Grant's an absolute beast. Um, I mean, and honestly, you could see the Steelers getting rid of like Larry Ogunjobi this offseason. I want to say it saves them like 8 mil in cap space. I definitely think they'll be looking to really shore up that D line. And where Kenneth Grant is one of the best players available right there, I think it'd be hard for Pittsburgh to pass up on that. For the Chargers here, I'm going to go ahead and actually improve their O line even more and give them best guard available in Tyler Booker from Alabama. I think as like a pure guard, I think he'd still end up being better than Kelvin Banks. Yeah, I guess Banks has flexibility that he can play tackle, but I don't think he's going to be like an elite prospect at tackle, and I don't think he's going to be like an immediate like top high-end guard either. So it's kind of hard to figure out where Banks is truly going to fit in, you know? But here for the Packers, I'm going to go ahead and give them Benjamin Morrison out of Notre Dame. Like I was saying earlier with Jahdae Barron, I have them graded neck and neck. I think they're both really solid corners. You really can't go wrong with either pick. Vikings on the board. They're kind of a team that could use a tackle or a guard. I think this is probably where a guy like Calvin Banks kind of fits in. He can kind of just fit in wherever the Vikings need him at guard or tackle. And I don't know, maybe he'll prove me wrong on playing tackle. Maybe he'll make me eat my words that he is an NFL tackle. But at least from what I've seen, it sounds like he's going to play more guard. But again, Minnesota needs both, so I think it'll work out. Texans on the board, and I'm going to go ahead and give them defensive tackle Walter Nolan from Mississippi. He's seemed to have a really solid Senior Bowl up to this point. Seems fast off the line of scrimmage. From what I've seen, at least, he seemed like he's really been winning most of his reps. So I think he'd be a good fit there in Houston. Rams on the board now. I know it says they need tackle, and I agree. But as I was saying earlier, Josh Connerly's been getting blown up left and right at the Senior Bowl. Membu hasn't really been looking phenomenal either. So I'm not exactly sure which way you want to go. Ooh, I like the fit of Jahad Campbell with them. I actually really, really like that. I think for how well they're rebuilding that defense right now, Jahad Campbell would be such an intriguing fit in that defense. I mean, his versatility, his ability to play the run, rush the passer, like, I think that'd be a really fun defense with Campbell. I like that idea. Here for the Ravens, I'm going to go ahead and give them Siobhan Revel, another very solid corner out of East Carolina. I mean, I mentioned before, there's some solid corners in this class. I do think, unfortunately, there's a little bit of a drop-off after that. I mean, out of these remaining guys, For me personally, I would probably have Denzel Burke as the next highest graded player. Um, but I mean, these other corners in between aren't terrible options either. But I think we're kind of past the remaining like first round corners, so I don't know that you really take a guy like that this early. For the Lions, I'm gonna go ahead and give them Nick Scorton. I was mentioning earlier that he's good at stopping the run, setting the edge before he rushes the passer. I think that's going to be really good for the Lions because they like to really like make sure teams cannot run on them before getting those sacks. And I think it's going to be a good fit there in Detroit. Commanders now on the board. And I'm going to go ahead and actually give them Tyleik Williams. So he's another one of my defensive tackles in this class that I feel like not enough people are really talking about. Dude's just an absolute monster on the D line. I feel like we don't really know how much longer Jonathan Allen's going to be playing over there. I know they drafted Johnny Newton last year, and they have Deron Payne, but it did seem like at times Washington was very vulnerable in the run game, and that's something you really want to fix. So getting a guy like Tyleik Williams would definitely help out with that. At least on, early, very obvious running downs. So then for Buffalo, I'm going to go ahead and give them Nick Amenwori. He's a guy that I've kind of had on the fence lately with, like, is he an early second rounder or does he start coming into the first round? And lately I've kind of been leaning more towards coming into the first round. I mean, the dude's just a smart, fast, physical football player. I mean, he's gonna be a good safety in the NFL. I think if this class didn't have Malachi Starks in it, I think Amenwari would be a very obvious, clear-cut number one safety in the class. And most other years he'd be number one safety. So I think that kind of speaks to how good Malachi Starks truly is going to be. And I know really the big knock here is that a lot of teams don't really take safety in the first round. Well, this is getting real close to the second round, and I think this is kind of a point that you can't really pass on him. All right, you can't pass on a guy like that. For the Eagles here, I kind of have a feeling they're going to lose Josh Sweat in free agency, and I think that's going to leave a little bit of a hole in their pass rush. So I'm going to go ahead and give them Shamar Stewart. I think they're honestly very, very similar pass rushers. Guys that are quick off the ball and, quick at the line of attack. Honestly, I think he's a really good fit for Philly. I think Josh Sweat has honestly been a guy that has earned his way into a bigger contract, and I think Philly already has so many stars that they're not going to want to pay him what he's going to demand, and they're going to end up losing him. So Shamar Stewart's going to be the replacement there, and a real good one at that. Kansas City on the board here. And I know their main need is tackle. I'm going to go ahead and go with Ariante Ursay. I've already said that Connerly and Membu have not looked great at the Senior Bowl. I think the best remaining tackle here is probably Ursay. Sorry, Ursery. Yeah, I think he's the best available option. So let me know what you think of this mock draft in the comments section below. Again, make sure to smash that like button and subscribe, and I'll see you next time. Later.